Welcome to the WYN Legal channel. This is the channel where we provide tips, tactics and strategies to help you through your legal dispute. Today we're talking about squatters and how best to have them removed from your residential property. And I'm delighted to be welcomed by our Senior Associate here at WYN Legal, Binal Shah. And today we're going to be talking about some of the recent work she's been doing in trying to help our client to remove squatters from his residential property. Now, just by way of background, what happened in this situation is that our client went away for a period of 2 months to spend time in a different country. Lo and behold, he comes back only to realise that when he reaches his property, there are strangers that have moved into his property, removed furniture, and have assumed that they're living there. So what do? Well, the client rang us and we provided guidance to him, and Binal today will be telling us the guidance that she's given and the steps she's taken to assist our client and other people who found themselves having squatters in their property. It's an absolute outrage and we generally try to work as fast as we possibly can. So Binal, welcome to our show, and firstly thank you for all your hard work that you give to both the firm and also to our clients. And of course in relation to this matter relating to squatters in properties. So Binal, first, would you like to just maybe introduce yourself and some of the work that you do here at WYN Legal?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Binal Shah, a Senior Associate at WYN Legal. Mainly deal with landlord and tenant disputes, do some commercial work, some debt recovery work, but it's at the moment mainly my caseload is landlord and tenant matters.
Yes, and you've been excellent on this scenario that I've been talking to you about. So when you have these matters, and I appreciate they don't happen all the time,
Yeah.
how do you, what's your initial advice? How do you guide a client who's told us that somebody's basically taken over their residential property?
I mean, as you can imagine, when they come to us, they're in a state of distress, probably some sort of, they're also shocked. So the best thing for you to do at that point is obviously advise them. You need to find out if they're the property owners to begin with, because they have to be a property owner to be making the application for what's called an interim possession order. That's the first step that you'd have to take. The interim possession order has to be made within 28 days of finding out that they have been,
so pretty fast.
It has to be a quick process.
Yes.
If it's been more than 28 days for whatever reason, then you have to make a normal claim for possession,
Right.
and which is longer. It's a longer process.
Yeah.
The way the interim possession orders are designed is that you have to make the application within a certain period of time, but also the courts can act on it pretty quickly, so you can get your property back.
Yeah, and it's been quite surprising because we've seen how long courts usually take.
Yes.
But have you found that when filing an interim possession order, they've been faster?
They've been much faster than filing a normal claim of possession.
Yes.
So with this particular one, I think they dealt with it within about 3-4 days.
Yes.
And once they issue it, we've got a time limit to sort of serve.
Yes.
So we have 24 hours to serve the documents, the claim form and the application for interim possession order on the squatters.
Yes.
So for that you've got to employ a process server because it needs to be personal service. So you can either affix it to the property or you can also put it in the letterbox, so you can do both. But we just have to somehow make sure that the squatters know that this application has been made.
And you've got to draw as much attention to it as you possibly can.
Yes, exactly.
And I think sometimes, one thing that you were considering on this matter was to put it in kind of see-through envelopes to get it stuck on the door or somewhere that can get their notice.
Well, exactly.
So that's really interesting. So if we just talk a bit about the kind of the process in drafting the claim form and kind of what some of our viewers may need to think about in doing that. What steps did you take? What forms did you fill in order to try and get the IPO off the ground?
Okay, so the first form that you have to complete is what's called the N5, which is a claim form for possession.
Yeah.
The other one is the application for interim possession order. These are standard documents which you can get from the government website. Yeah. The other important document that you should be filing is your witness statement. So if you're the property owner, you should file a witness statement explaining the circumstances surrounding how you found out that your property's been taken over by the squatters, what steps you've taken. A lot of the time, the first thing that property owners will do is call the police, and in this instance, my client called the police. I mean, the police can't do anything until the interim possession order is made.
Yeah. It's
So
bizarre, isn't it?
it's very bizarre.
Yeah.
So yeah, we made inquiries with the police to get some documents that apparently the squatters had shown tenancy agreement. But again, you've got to make a freedom of information request, which the police will take 20 working days for that.
Yeah.
To produce that, but it's really witness statement and any supporting documents that you can, file with the witness statement. So it's the N5, the application for interim possession order, and the witness statement and supporting documents. That's the process, and you file that with the court. There's a court fee, which is about £391 at the moment.
Yes.
That you file, but yeah, the court generally deals with it pretty quickly.
And how did you find? I mean, I think the witness statement's so important, isn't it? Because it's really what's going to tell the court, the story behind what's going on, and the judge will use that to kind of base their decision on. So kind of just talk us a bit about what you did with the client to try and ascertain, weed out that information and kind of reflect that information on your, because it was a strong witness statement, wasn't it, that
exactly.
You did?
So the client sent us a background, so he'd set out his version of how he found out and what steps he'd taken to find out when the squatters were at the property. So he sent us a document, but obviously we had to fill in all the gaps. So I had a couple of telephone conversations with the client, obviously drafted the witness statement, but it has to be as detailed as possible.
Of course.
So
and I think what you did very well in that witness statement was a chronology, right from when he left the property in the first instance to go travelling, to returning, to what happened after he returned.
Exactly, it's like a story.
Yes.
It's basically a story of how, when he left, when he came back, and as I said, it has to be as detailed as possible. So when a judge is looking at this, he knows exactly what's happened.
Yes.
And
And I think another thing that I found very interesting with your witness statement was certain undertakings that you found that the client needed to have given. So do you recall those undertakings?
Yes. So that's one of the conditions for an interim possession order. You've got to give undertakings. So when it's later found, or for whatever reason that the IPO wasn't supposed to have been made, the interim possession order, then you have to pay damages.
Yes.
So it's
So if you made a false application, or if you're just trying your luck,
then there will be damages claim against you.
Yes.
It's important to give those undertakings for an interim possession order to be made.
And so I know you worked really quickly. You got the claim forms done, you got the witness statements done, you got the court fee paid, you got someone out to court, they got it sealed.
Yes.
You got it. You got a process server in place. The process server worked almost instantaneously. Got the relevant documents served at the property, and all that was great. And then we got a date for the hearing.
So we've got it.
That's it's coming up very soon. But can you just tell our viewers kind of how, if they find themselves faced with a hearing for an IPO, what preparation work have you found yourself doing? What can the viewers take away from preparing for a hearing?
So obviously, in this case, we have instructed a barrister to attend the hearing. But in terms of preparations, we've had to prepare a hearing bundle, which just consists of the application that you've made, the notice of hearing, the notice of issue that the court has prepared, and then you can also make a statement of costs. You can prepare a statement of costs, but it's very, very unlikely that on the day you're actually going to get an order for costs in your favour.
Yeah, because we don't actually know who the squatters
are.
We
don't know. Exactly. The application's made as persons unknown. Those are the defendants. You don't actually have names. But that's the kind of preparation work that you have to do.
And what about certificates of service and things like that?
Yes, so the certificate of service can be filed with the court before, or it can actually be brought to the hearing itself.
Okay.
So there's no time limit for filing the certificate of service, because everything happens pretty quickly with the IPO. So it doesn't matter whether you file the certificate of service 3 days before the hearing or not. So we got the process server to complete. It's a standard form again, a certificate of service. They just complete it, and they send it to us. We file it with the court. In this instance, I got mine pretty early, so I filed it with the court.
Oh, excellent.
But you can also include that in the hearing bundle,
right.
So the judge can see it on the day.
Fine. And so let's hope all goes well at that hearing. What happens next? So if a judge is content that an interim possession order should be made, what would you expect the next steps to be in this process?
So when the interim possession order is made, we have to serve it, again, personally serve it at the address on the squatters, and we have 48 hours to do that.
Yes.
It's usually 48 hours, but the judge can say you have 24 hours.
Yeah.
It just depends.
There might be some discretion
Exactly.
there.
And then the squatters have 24 hours to leave the property.
Yes.
And at this point, if they fail to do that, it becomes a criminal offence. So there's up to 6 months imprisonment if they don't leave, or £5,000 fine, or both.
Right.
So this is when
So
if they
it's
don't
got quite a lot
it's
of teeth, hasn't it?
Exactly. So at this point, if they don't leave,
Mm.
you can actually involve the police. You don't have to apply for a warrant of possession or a writ of possession.
Okay.
You can go straight to the police, and they have, at this point, they now have the power to arrest them.
Yes. So enforcement is going to the police, which is powerful. It's a powerful deterrent, isn't it?
It is, yes.
And then once the interim possession order is in place, my understanding is it goes to a more substantive possession hearing?
So when the interim possession order is made, on the same day, the judge will fix another date for the full hearing, the full claim for possession hearing. The defendants also have, at this point, so they have to leave the property.
Yes.
They can then always make an application to set aside the interim possession, even after having left the property.
Yes.
They can make an application to set aside the interim possession order, which would then be heard at the full hearing.
At the full substantive possession hearing.
Exactly.
Okay. How interesting. So for some of our viewers, that's really helpful, and thank you, Binal, for all your help on that. For our viewers, what would you say are the top kind of 2 or 3 tips you would give a viewer that finds out that their property has been taken over by squatters? We hope it will never happen, but it's becoming quite common, isn't it?
It is becoming quite common. I mean, it happens to residential properties as well as commercial properties, but I think the top tip is to act pretty quickly. I know it's quite distressing, and you probably don't know what to do, and so you have to go to the police as soon as you found out, although their hands will be tied in the sense that they can't do much until there's interim possession order, but seek legal advice. Obviously, you have to act quickly, seek legal advice, and try and find out when, if you don't know what date the squatters left, it's really hard because you've got to make this application within 28 days. But I think acting promptly and quickly and seeking legal advice, that's really everything, because you're not going to know what to do.
No. I think I completely agree with that. And one thing that we've really tried to do in this matter is work with speed, work accurately, be as detailed as we possibly can be, given the time that we have. And really, it requires robust action, doesn't it? Because, I mean, clients in these situations are aggrieved. This is their residential home. Some may live with children. I mean, it must be the most distressing thing to see your personal space being evaded. So, the way in which I think you've handled this is really an example to how I think, solicitors ought to be doing it. So, people don't have to instruct our firm, but they may choose to, given the work that we are doing in this.
I think acting promptly is the key really to it. But,
all right. Well, thanks, Binal, for all your time, and we look forward to you joining us on other topics that you're working on. But for our viewers, thank you for tuning in, and if you want to learn more about this topic or any of our other services, please visit our website at www.wyn.legal. That's Whiskey Yankee November.legal. And and if you like what you see, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much.